I have a word of the day.
You want to do that?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. If you're
Yeah.
ready with that, let's save us some time.
Pocket world today.
Fuck it.
What do you want?
A pocket world today.
Pocket word, yeah. Let's see, I did proliferate last time.
Right, you should always prepare now. See what I say? Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
I know.
Proper preparation allows proper performance.
Virgin. Anyone heard of this, right?
Bird-
Virgin.
Bird,
That means,
virgin.
yeah.
Are you still not talking about the other virgin?
Virgin? This is again like...
Remember you did it once with the what?
Which one? What did I talk about?
Never mind.
Okay.
Let's not even go there.
Blossom. This means blossom.
I've never heard of the word. Virgin.
S-S-O-M. Blossom. Or to
What kind of
grow
word is that?
or develop rapidly.
Blossom.
To grow
To
or
develop rapidly.
develop. Yeah.
So that's virgin, that's what it
Yeah.
means.
Virgin.
It just you coming with words that get you in trouble.
I
Remember
know.
last time you shared something that happened to you a long time ago?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
Yeah, remember you said something about
Virgin.
some rubber?
What is, about?
Remember you said something about
About?
the rubber?
Oh, okay, that's the language.
That's what I'm talking about.
Eraser.
Erase the
That erase? No. Yeah, but she named it differently. That's a
sentence.
problem.
I need a sentence. Okay, let's see. Fears that nuclear weapons might burgeon. Okay, let me
Burgeon.
think of something else.
Blossom. To
Oh,
grow or develop rapidly.
let's see.
They're interesting words. I don't know that then what we'll do, we'll just have Karina keep track of who uses the word of the day, right? Just since
Well,
Beatrice helping her,
Yes.
we'll just have Karina keep track of the word that way.
She's
And
the
we'll still
American.
play the role.
Yep.
Good deal. That's teamwork.
Spring. The flowers burgeon during spring. How's that?
The flowers
Virgin,
virgin during
blossom
spring.
during
Bird develop rapidly.
Virgin.
Virgin.
Blossom.
Yeah. Can you see it? It looks too light, right?
Still alive, but yeah, you still read it.
Only from that distance, but this distance, you can see? You have good eyes.
What? Burger? Is that what it is?
Burger!
Virgin,
my
virgin,
God.
right?
Burger.
Virgin.
Looks like burger to him. For him it looks like virgin. For you it looks like burger. Let me make it darker, it's really bad.
It's light from it.
Yeah?
It's a little light, but still you can.
Right.
Got it.
Right? Better?
Knock it out.
Okay. Better?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm hungry now.
So,
Oh,
Too
yes,
bad.
yes.
All right, fellow Toastmasters.
yes, sir.
We're gonna get started. It's almost 12:15. I think it's time to
Right.
get busy and rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
All right. And definitely it's a pleasure being here. And thank you for being here. And definitely we'll just continue going to club and making it happen. So with that being said, I want to call Beatrice for invocation. Can you please stand?
Let's rise. Yeah. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this awesome day, this bright sunny day, Lord. We thank you for sending each and every one here gathered, Lord, to improve their skills, leadership, and communication. Lord, we know that you are in control and all good things come from you, Lord. So we believe and trust, Lord, that you will fill our minds and our hearts and with wisdom, knowledge, and help us to share and communicate freely. All those who are coming, Lord, on their way, bless them and protect them and bring them safe. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Please remain standing, and for the pledge, we're going to call Mr. Adolfo Morataya.
Please place the flag, hands on the heart, and recite the pledge of allegiance with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you may be seated. Now, President introduces Toastmaster of the day. And the Toastmaster of the day, it'll be me, myself, and I.
Yeah, I mean myself.
And
Myself and I.
me, myself, and I. We're going to get started with the mission statement. For the mission statement, we have Mr. Bobby Canseco. Please share that with us.
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster. The mission of the Toastmaster Club is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth.
All right.
Right.
Mr. Bobby. This is our new version, correct.
It's not different, so it's the same.
And for the outcounter,
I will do.
please, Beatrice, can you
Yeah.
let us know what that entails?
Okay. The R counter are filler words, standard.
Yes, please.
And we should try to avoid using it. Like just now I said and, like, and so, and these annoying words. You know. My weakness is every little while I'll say you know, and then so. And these words we have to stop saying them, and I'm going to count them, and that's my role for today.
Okay, great job, Beatrice. And Beatrice, if you like, I have a sheet to help you keep
record?
track of the filler words. It's right there on the
That's
sheet.
what you do. That's why you said.
On the right side, that sheet right there. So there, just write the people's name,
Okay.
and you can check wherever.
That's what you do, and that's why I
Yes.
wonder how you're so excellent in this job. All right, so grammarian is me again.
Okay.
The word of the day is burgeon.
Virgin.
So burgeon is blossom, to grow or develop rapidly. For example, the flowers burgeon during spring.
All right. Good job. You got that?
Virgin.
Timer report. Adolfo, can you please let us know about timer report?
The timer reporting, and we'll do speech of the speeches will be 5 to 7 minutes. What's the speech probably 5 to 7 minutes?
5 to 7.
Actually, this one was supposed to be 7 to 9.
Oh,
7 to 9. Okay.
so long.
So that means that I believe, Bobby, you will have at 7 you will see the green, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at 8 you should see the yellow.
It says here 7 to 9 minutes for the speech and 2 to 3 minutes for the question and answer period.
Okay.
So like 10, you know.
Okay. So you want me to time it separately or together?
Maybe separate.
12.
Separately.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's
Separate,
Somebody's
okay.
got that.
So at 7 you will see the green,
Mhm.
at 8 you will see the yellow, and 9 the red, right?
Mhm.
For the 2 to 3, you will see the 2 minutes, you will see the green, 2.5, you will see yellow.
So
3.
immediately after the red line.
Start counting?
you
Question.
step
Okay, very good.
target. That would signal me to ask the
Okay.
audience to
Alright.
put questions.
You want me to, means to when I start seeing this one, not to account for the 3-second time?
30 seconds.
Yeah,
yeah.
No.
No?
Okay, very good. Right. And then table topics, we have for 1 minute, remember it's only 1 minute, when you see the green, you're okay, and
Yeah.
yellow, and 2 minutes. And the evaluation will be 2 minutes.
Yeah, and this is
2 minutes, 2.5, and 3.
Mhm.
3
Yes,
Evaluation.
maximum for the evaluation,
is 3.
3 minutes. But you need only 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'll report the times at the end.
Yeah.
All right. You can turn off the light, green light. And we have our ball counter. we have Adolfo Morataya again.
Yes,
Oh.
collect
Please
balls
give
here,
us-
this basket, and don't forget to write your comments also
Or, sure.
for the speaker, the boss, main speaker, evaluation, and tabletop,
Right,
Okay.
in order.
okay.
Get out from Adolfo forward. Roll call here.
So,
Now we only have one speaker for today.
right.
However, we have two evaluators. The speaker is Bobby Conseco, and one of the evaluators is Beatrice Yuli.
Right. We'll have,
Okay,
yeah,
and do an evaluation also.
right.
Okay. Perfect. And also Adolfo Morataya will be evaluator number 2. Beatrice, can you share with us a little bit about Bobby's speech?
You're not going
Right,
to introduce him?
this is the,
You have to introduce him, right, first? And then,
Nobody get the Bobby's introduction.
the speech project number 4.
Okay.
four.
Yeah.
Just introduce the basic.
Okay, this is from the Advanced Communication Series, project number 4. Addressing the, sorry. His objectives are prepare a talk on controversial subject that persuades an audience to accept or at least consider your viewpoint. Construct the speech to appeal to the audience's logic and emotions. This speech is for 7 to 9 minutes and 2 to 3 minutes for question answer period. The title of his speech is the Judy
Jody.
Judy
Arias.
Arias verdict. Oh my goodness, the Judy Arias verdict. So
Now well, thank you for sharing, Beatrice. Before I call Bobby to do his speech, I want to say a little bit about Bobby. Bobby's been with the club for, been actually a Toastmaster member for over
forever.
over 6 years, right? Over 6 years?
7 years.
7 years, actually, 7 years, and also a mentor of a club.
Ah,
And also he's part of multiple clubs.
right.
And also he just took a new role in a different club. It's also a president of the, what is it, what number?
Club 20.
Club 20.
Wow.
So we can see that Bobby's actually
Evolve.
evolving and helping other clubs develop like ours. He's our mentor in our club. I'm excited to have Bobby on board and be our mentor. Please help me welcome Mr. Bobby Conseco.
Come on, Bobby!
Thank you, Bobby.
How many of you have heard or about the Jody Arias story or trial?
Yes.
You haven't heard about Jody Arias?
May
I
not
am.
be
That has
praising the
been in
name.
the news for
Oh yeah.
a long
Years.
time.
Yeah.
Right. There was a verdict on her case. She was, apparently she was convicted of the first-degree murder. She stabbed her boyfriend 27 times and shot the boyfriend on the head.
Oh.
So imagine 27 times. So given that fact, and the prosecutor had proven the case that there was premeditation, and so the jury gave the verdict of guilty, right, of first-degree murder. Now let me ask, given those facts, how many of you would agree that it's just right that she gets, the death sentence, that she's guilty of that, right? So most of us, right? Most of us. When I first heard about this stuff from the news, it kept been playing many times from different networks. They always talk about Jody Arias story, blah blah blah. My thoughts, I said, there's no other way to give a verdict but guilty for what she did. I could not imagine
anyone who would try to kill somebody by stabbing him 27 times, slitting the throat from ear to ear, all right, and putting a bullet
Making
in his
sure.
forehead with a pistol. I said, and they network kept playing and coming up with stories because the media, media information. So everybody was saying, and to the point that I get so tired listening to it. I said, "Come on, guys, the game is guilty." So like you, I just felt that it's just right because in fact she deserves to die. Because when you're guilty of first-degree murder, it's either you get life term imprisonment with no possible parole until 25 years, or a death sentence. Right? Fellow Toastmaster, until I began reading more about the backgrounds, I am going to tell you that it is not fair that Jodi Arias would be given the verdict of guilty on murder one. I think she should be given a verdict of maybe second-degree murder, which is like so many years, or at least at best manslaughter. And why am I saying this? You see, Jodi Arias, when she met this boyfriend, Travis Alexander, I believe that was in 2007. At the time, first time they met each other, Jodi was in a relationship with somebody else for so many years. Jodi is just an ordinary person, who loves photography and who loves art, and she is just like anyone who wanted stability in life, and so she had certain ideals for a man who's stable, who could really be his future husband. But in 2007, that changed when she attended the defense legal service, pre-legal service. This guy, Travis Alexander, very successful businessman selling pre-legal aid. It's a multi-level. He's a motivational speaker, and she also is a member of the Mormon elders, been raised Mormon. And the guy is so successful, young, and to make the story short, they fell in love with each other. And so Jodi saw Travis as a really ideal person to be his partner. So they became they came into a relationship with each other. In my understanding in Mormon, especially if you're an elder in a Mormon church, you're raised with high regards because in getting into marriage, there's some virtues that you have to be, like being virgin before you get married. Sex before marriage is something that doesn't happen. It's just an ideal marriage of man and woman. And lo and behold, Jodi Arias became Mormon herself. She was convinced. It's so interesting to see how ideal this person, Travis Alexander, is, but nothing is farther from the truth about what his real life is. Between her and Jodi, he has been so abusive, verbally abusive. He convinced Jodi that oral sex is not vaginal intercourse, so which is an exception. he convinced Jody that anal sex is okay. It's not. So in other words, this is guy is so violent. He had so much wiles, you know, and he had a lot of kinky sex, you know, things. He would tie Joy up on the bed with rope just to satisfy. And he became so abusive, not only physically but verbally. And sometimes to appease this guy when he is really mad, is to just be submissive and, you know, have sex. But then it didn't take long. They broke up. All right, they broke up. But then again, even after they broke up, they still communicated with each other. They talked to each other. They still had, you know, they even had phone sex. Imagine that, phone sex. So it's kind of a weird relationship. Then in June 2008, he invited her, I guess, to his place in Mesa, Arizona. And that's when the thing happened. He arrived at the guy's house at 4 o'clock a.m. And then the guy said, come on, you know, he wanted to have sex, but anyway, she's just tired. But needless to say, you know, after some time that they slept, they had sex, and then the guy, you know, decided that since he bought a new camera, you know, he liked to take pictures and so on and so forth. And the guy eventually, I guess, wanted to take a shower. He wanted Jody to take pictures of him. There's so many pictures, but apparently she accidentally dropped the camera, and so, you know, he gets so angry and so on and so forth. And that's when the accident happened. She, for whatever reason, I guess she just flipped out, you know, she because of all this abuse, she started, you know, because out of frustration, he started, you know, slashing his knives and piercing him with this knife. And given that background, I am fully convinced that it's not fair to say that murder one with premeditation is really, you know, the appropriate conviction for her. And I think that she should be sentenced with a lower, you know, with a manslaughter or second degree. So, given that story, I'd like to, you know, ask you, are you convinced that Jody should not have the conviction of murder one? Any yes? What do you think?
Well, yes, I agree with you. Under those circumstances, you see this person, the guy, who's abusive with her in a way that is not appropriately, then this, I think he might have got this girl very confused and mentally devastated in a way that had her just flip. And with those anger, resentment about her life and the whole thing, just confusion at the same time, that's what might trigger her to lose her common sense and maybe start stabbing this person to death. And the fact that I've stabbed so many times, still put a bullet to the guy's head, I think it just was to show how much hate and anger had against this person for what he's done to her in life. Because I'm sure this girl will be devastated.
Any other comments? Yes.
I'd like to ask you a question, Bobby. In your estimation, would you say that the media gave a good estimation, or it correctly portrayed what was happening? The media really showed the whole
I think
thing
the
correctly?
media was twisting on this story because they know whichever way it goes, it's still a story, and they try to cover as much aspect of it. But the media talk, was all in favor of the verdict. You know, there's a lot more people in the media saying, "Oh, she's really bad." But for me, somebody who have done that, I mean, maybe he's demonic possessed. You know, he's not the person that you really know. He's, for somebody to kill somebody with 27 stabs and a pistol shot, you know, he must be consumed by demonic, you know, spirit to do that, and not that person. Any other comments? That's it. I'm sorry, I missed out.
Because you want to
So, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My time is up. I'm sorry for taking next time.
All right, thank you, Bobby. Absolutely. Thank you very much. That was a great speech. Very interesting,
Yeah.
very intriguing, and actually just seeing courts. In fact, I went to serve as a juror
Oh.
last year. I didn't took on a case. I wasn't selected, but I was able to go for the first time through the whole process of how they qualify people to become a juror, and you see cases like that. My case was based on this individual raped a 14-year-old girl, but since she was little, like 10 years old, for like 4 years. This guy, individual, an adult male, was molesting this young girl from, I guess, early age in her life. And finally, they found out they had all this evidence, and they were filing charges against the person. That's what they needed a juror to be able to have a fair trial, because it's all about based on a fair trial. So I just want to share that with you. Okay. That being said, wow, interesting stuff. However, let's see here where we at. Now we're gonna have, so we only have one speaker. We're gonna have 2 evaluators. And evaluator 1,
After the tabletop.
oh sorry, I got so intrigued by okay, well, let's do it. Oh, okay. Okay, well, let's go for timer's report. Let's make that easy.
Yes, Mr. Toastmaster. Timer's report. Bobby spoke for 12 minutes, 12 seconds. That means that he qualified.
Qualify for time, okay. Beautiful, Bobby. How about Al Connor? No?
No,
No, no,
not
no.
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Let's have him first.
Bob? No.
Table
Bob.
topics.
Next on my.
All right, next online. Man, that story really threw me off.
He's still
I'm still in
captured.
shock.
Oh my god.
Let's get going.
Why?
Well, look, just you know, it's really, it's no fun. It's not fun at all.
No.
Let's start. We're gonna go to the next section, and we're gonna get into table topics. And for table topics, we're gonna bring Mr. Basula Samarasinghe. Please come.
All right, President.
Let's do it.
Alright.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters.
Good afternoon.
Wow, got me thinking about
Dead.
the depth and the decisions we have. Well, let's get on with our table topics. First of all, Mr. Adolfo, I like to. How do you pronounce this word of the day?
Grammarian.
Oh,
Virgin.
Virgin.
Yeah, it's virgin. It kind of rhymes with virgin.
Okay.
Like a little bit like hamburger.
It's
So it's a verb.
blossom. Yeah, blossom to grow.
So as we know, we must all use the word virgin.
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 Yes, like a, see,
Like a virgin.
okay, now it's on
Virgin.
virgin as we do our table topics.
Ah,
So with that being said,
Yeah.
I have 3 topics. Until she's done with that.
Like this. The flowers burgeon during spring. This might be dark. Okay. Now you can see that?
The flower virgin. Alright.
Yeah. Oh, you couldn't read that.
To grow or develop rapidly.
Verb.
Virgin. So blossom to grow, develop rapidly. The flowers burgeon during spring.
Spring.
Alright.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure we all use the word of the day.
Yeah.
Now, I might be looking at the board when you're speaking, so that means don't forget to read it, because we have this process we had for a long time that everybody forgot to use the word of the day, right? Maybe that's a good hint, right? If I do this. Okay. So, with that being said, I have 3 topics.
Okay.
First topic is, if you had to give up your car, how would you do your daily activities? You can't call a friend for a car either. You have no car. How would you do it?
It's impossible. Why are you looking at me?
Impossible! Wow. Challenging, isn't it?
Yes.
Beatrice! Really?
Alright, Beatrice. Coming up.
I thought you.
I was looking at him. I was looking at you through him.
There you go, see?
Oh my goodness. The moment I heard the question, I said the word impossible. So it's like we did have only one car when we came here to the US. And I know how difficult it was. But then the nice part was, my husband had to do a lot of the work. Like the grocery, I didn't have to worry because he would go to work in the car, do the grocery shopping, then come back. And I had a toddler, and my son, so I had to drop them to school. So I would walk. So the advantage was I lost a lot of weight. So there were advantages. Disadvantage was if I needed to, do my own shopping and just go far away and to this mall and that mall, I couldn't do that. But recently what we did was like small grocery shopping to go on bikes. So we just bought bikes and we started using them, and the first time I rode on that bike, I felt really dizzy and I was like, why? What's wrong with me? So I knew that I needed to ride the bike more and more often. And that became like a practice. So every time my daughter comes back from school, she's like, Mama, let's go bike riding. And then we go on the bike and we go up the hill and down the hill. The first time up the hill was really difficult, but then now I can do it with ease, up the hill, and then can go down the hill. There's no more dizziness. So I love bike riding.
Alright.
Thank you.
And the birds.
Good that you were shouting at.
I looked at it. I was looking at it with my eyes. That was good. I know what you mean about. I know what you mean about having one car when you first come to the U.S. You had to
Yeah.
improvise. My mom went to work on a bus.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
So, second,
Oh, birds.
what would you do for society if you had the opportunity? What would you do for society
Oh,
if you had the
forgive me
opportunity?
that one. It's too late.
Mr. President,
How is this getting me?
Shook him up.
It's not funny. Hello, Toastmasters.
Yeah.
If you had the opportunity to control the economy, maybe dictate where the money goes, what I would do, I would definitely select different funds to go for the elderly people, to be able to provide care for them, to be able to make sure that they're really taken care of. There's people out there that right now they are actually retiring with no savings, and people are really starving and struggling right now. I would have some money aside for the people to be able to afford health insurance. As you know, the industry of health insurance, they're controlling that industry. And people that have no health insurance are struggling to even go see a doctor. Because this clinics and hospitals, when you walk in, right off the top, see a doctor could be several thousands of dollars if you go in an emergency. And people just sometimes stay home and they'll go see a doctor, try to find other means to really take care of themselves, and in the process, people end up getting heart attacks and dying. I will make health more affordable to everybody. I will definitely create different programs for kids to stay out of trouble and stay and definitely out of trouble, out of gangs, and really develop in a way that it's a healthier environment. Because the kids nowadays, they actually are future. They are who are going to rule our economy and also our country. For that reason, I think it's important, the virgin, our kids' generation, to make a country and our world a better place to live in. Mr. Toastmaster, come and get it.
As long as you use
I don't know.
that
I don't know how he's using the content of it, but we're all foreigners, so
You know what? He was going like this, it made me laugh.
I saw that. I was rolling my eyes.
It was making me laugh, like threw me out.
Yeah, then he used filler words when I was looking at it.
That was a good one.
Okay. Thirdly, now, here is a twist today. You might get called on a second time.
No way.
Very interesting.
How would you spend your last $100 and you had 1 month left? So that means your paycheck ran out before the month did.
Well, the last.
How would you spend your last $100 if you had 1 month left?
If you have 1 month left.
You have whole month left. You need to
Before
spread
you get
this
paid
100. Yes, before the next check. So you have 31 days to stretch this $100. You have to buy food. You have to buy
Gas.
gas. You have to the essentials of life. How would you spend it? And you have bills. 1 month.
That's ridiculous.
Mr. Adolfo.
He look at everybody.
I know, he was getting ready.
Okay. Mr. Tabletop.
Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletop. How will I spend my $100 if I have 30 days to go? Well, if I have 30 days to go, I will think about the following 3 weeks. Following 3 weeks. That's what I will think. Then I will concentrate on gas, food, and maybe if there is enough left for the 3rd week, then I will go like entertainment. Believe it or not. Now, how would that be possible? Well, I'm not too sure about it, but I think there is a possibility of using only 3/4 of the 100. That's $75, right? $75 in the first 3 weeks, right? I'm left with 25, but those 25s, what I will do with those is investing in something that I could make money with, something, anything. So if I go ahead and make sure that I buy some cheap products in very cheap stores, and then I go and put a booth on the street, and if nobody can cut me, I start selling that for a little for $2, and try to see if it works. If it works, great. Then I have money for the 4th week and more for entertainment. You see? If it doesn't work, then I better expand it. And that expanded has to do with money, right? Because you want the money to burgeon
Oh!
in front of you all the time. Mr. Tabletop.
That was excellent use of the word.
Thank you very much.
I know. I was like, now I know.
I kind of knew when he was doing the expansion. Okay, this is perfect where you can jump in.
Wow.
Wait, you know, I've been there where I had the money to last a whole month, so I stayed home. Because my mind wasn't thinking about selling things. I don't want to go anywhere, I'm going to stay home. So, thank you very much. Wow, that was fun. And now we're going to call on the timers report.
Okay, yes, Mr. Tabletop Master. Timers report. Beatrice spoke for 1 minute and 33 seconds. Jesse spoke for 1 minute and 56 seconds, and Adolfo myself spoke for 1 minute and 46 seconds. All speakers qualified.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Adolfo. Murataya. What about the grammarian's report?
Grammarian, one person got disqualified.
I think your mayor did.
No, the grammarian got disqualified. Okay, all of the others qualified because they used the word of the day. Jesse, you had one and one Adolfo had one and.
Maybe later.
And then myself, I had one and one so. Bobby didn't catch him yet. His thing was too engrossing.
Okay, since I was supposed to be the all counter, I did count them all as well.
Oh, you're the.
Bobby had 5 ands,
Oh, you did?
2 so's,
Wow.
and 6 ahs. And Beatrice had 1 and 1 but. See, isn't it amazing how when there's 2 people
I
listening to
know.
what we listen
It's
for?
different.
Point of order.
Yes.
I thought this supposed to be under the general evaluation portion of the meeting.
Which one?
Oh, the all counter report?
The general.
Oh, yes.
evaluation.
Oh,
Can we
the
cancel that? I'd like to revert back to Okay, we're going backwards.
Let's vote
Okay,
first.
now we need to vote
Yeah.
Yes.
for the best table topics.
Alright.
Base table topics, okay. Right, correct.
There you go.
Okay. Correct. Vote for the other person, unless you wanna win.
I know.
Now, at this point, I'd like to bring up our esteemed president, Mr. Jesse Alvarado, to continue our Toastmasters program.
All right, thank you much. Did a great job. Great questions. They're interesting. They're intriguing. Full of fun. Now I'd like to call our general evaluator. Mr. General Evaluator is definitely a member for almost 2 years now, or even 2 years. This also brings a lot of value to our club.
Less than
Is what?
Less than 2.
Less than 2 years? Okay, let's correct that. Less than 2 years for the record. Less than 2 years. It's the Vice President of Education. Please help me welcome Adolfo Morataya. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I have an agenda, please?
Yes, you can.
Thank you very much. Mr. Toastmaster?
Need a pen?
Okay. No.
Okay.
Now, next, we're gonna pass the evaluation of our speaker. For that, we're gonna have 2 evaluators. They will be, the first one will be Beatrice,
Okay.
for which I will exit the room. And then next, I will be doing the second evaluation.
Okay.
And I'll come back, and Beatrice can remain in the room also. We will proceed then doing that, and let's start then with Beatrice.
Oh, right. Okay.
All right. Good.
You are there? Let me get out my paper here. There was a paper here somewhere. Okay. Thank you. And I'll get out.
Wow, we couldn't get out of that feeling for a while, right, after we heard the speech. So that effective it was, because one of the evaluation says that we have to look out for this criteria, like how convincing was the speaker's presentation on his or her viewpoint. And when he brought out this whole case, I think most of us were convinced that she needs the first degree treatment. So, and then all of a sudden, I think our speaker presented it in such a way that whatever happened at that moment was to be considered why she reacted in such an aggressive manner, why she was so deranged, what provoked her, and examining her life closely
was able to convince half the people. I don't know if half the people were convinced after the story, after examining her life so closely, that that there should be a consideration and give her at least a second-degree verdict. So I don't know if all of us were convinced about that, but for me personally, I felt that when a person behaves so aggressive, there is some severe provocation, and it's better to look into that and not just give a verdict, because now you can't, it's always like you have to hear two sides of a story to come to a conclusion. But here we could only see that that person was dead there. And I felt that how you presented the whole speech was, held our attention. There were a lot of emotions involved. Coming to think of this lady, her predicament it's so severe that should we feel for her, or should we just get her, to die right on the spot? So it was pretty emotional, and we needed time to think about the verdict. You maintained your eye contact. You had your voice, the variation was also presentable. And they also said to add some humor to your stories, which we never could feel at all. So maybe that could be a suggestion to add some humor to it. I don't know how you could fit it in there, but well, you would say that, I don't know what you would say, but anyway, that's one of the things that it asks for in the evaluation. And then, how prepared was the speaker? I think you prepared really well, because this was on the news all the time, and you happened to be listening to it at that time. So you were very well prepared, because you came out with the names, Travis Alexander. I think I would never have remembered that. So with that, I would say, Bobby, you did such a great job, and I really love the story. And so let's just give it up one more time for him while I'm going off from here. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you for your evaluation. I cannot comment on it because I don't know how it was. But now, next. But I think by the expressions of people, I think you give just by the expressions, I think it was good. So I will now give my evaluation of Bobby Canseco's speech. Now, I think, no doubt, that this was a very grabbing speech. We all were like, oh, what's going on here? We were hypnotized. And I think probably the most important thing that did it was that he describes the characters in this story. Right? He describes for us Jody and Travis, both Mormons, their lives, their relationship, the activities they were doing. And that, I believe, brought the story to life. That brought those individuals there, like, we wanted to know what happened to them, what was going on there. That to me was really amazing, because it brought the attention of everybody, and everybody was kind of living what was going on and what happened in the past, and the way he explained it with the details he gave, made it something that we can relive, I think, and we could behave as if we were there, really, practically. And that's, to me, was the most important thing I obtained in this speech. The other parts that I would like to comment is that the beginning, if you notice, Bobby gave us an introduction about this girl that committed this crime, maybe deserves the death sentence, but all of a sudden, kind of in the middle, he changed it. He went like, oh, but there's a change here. Not so good for that judgment on her. He was like, oh, what's going on here? Then he was kind of complaining about maybe not too good of a judgment, but now not that good of a judgment. I mean, maybe she doesn't deserve that. So that was a change. And I went like, wait a minute, what? I said, see, now people became curious about why is that? And another attention grabber right there. Another attention grabber. We gotta hear Bobby's explanation here, why things there. And he did. He talked to us about again about the characters. He gave us even more details about the characters and about the couple and what the events that happened. And it was another plus in a change of story, in a mood. I would also like to comment that the structure of the speech could have been improved, I would say. The structure itself. It was okay, but the description of the characters could have been even, at the beginning, could have been even more than towards the middle. Because then it starts from the beginning, that more intense. And then, if there is a real conflict, what's good, it started at the beginning, the conflict happening, which attracts the attention. Another thing is that the question at the beginning was good, but a question more having to do with the judgment, or how to do with what you think of the judgment, rather than, have you heard of this couple here like that? It would have been more enthralling, more put you into action. The question was good, no doubt about it. So, congratulations for that speech, buddy.
Yeah.
Mr. Evaluator?
That's it.
Mr. Evaluator. Right, I'm late.
Looking at me, I don't know.
All right, well, that was my evaluation for Bobby. And now, we're gonna vote for... Timer's report. We're gonna call for timer's report, please.
Okay. Beatrice took 3 minutes and 16 seconds. She qualified for time. Adolfo, you took 3 minutes and 26 seconds. You also qualified for time.
Oh, 26 seconds.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah.
Vote. Vote for
Okay.
Timer report. We need to vote for best evaluator. Vote for best evaluator, please. And then, at this moment, can we rewind and revise the accounting report, or are you happy with the report?
I think we did it, right?
I
We have only Adolfo
You can
left.
ask for it again.
Yeah, I wanna hear those again.
Okay.
Once again?
I did both, so I wanna know how
Yeah.
many I had.
So first of all, on Bobby's speech, we have 5 ands, 2 so's, 6 ahs. The Beatrice's first speech, which is the table topics, you had 1 and, 1 but. Jesse had 3 ands. Adolfo had on first table topics, you had 2 ands. Beatrice, when your evaluation, you had 2 ands and 1 so. Adolfo, on your evaluation, you had 6 ands, but there was a couple that was appropriately used, the ands, transition, and there were 5 ahs, and you had a couple of times where you said I 3 times. I don't know if that's called a filler.
Yeah,
Is it
I
Yeah,
said
okay.
Yeah.
And there's
Hmm.
1 and 1 the repetition. Yeah. So you could-
Mm.
Yeah, good.
Right.
Thank you very much for that accurate accounting
I didn't
report.
even get one.
Very good. But do you have any feedback, Beatrice, that you like to give in accounting? You did some, but that's...
Oh yeah, I'm horrible.
Well, no, but...
Yeah, we should.
would you
Yeah,
like to
I
give
didn't
some?
get any.
Okay, okay.
He was intrigued by the speech. Evaluation, did I do better or did you do better?
Okay, now I provide the meeting leader evaluation. Okay, I would like to say that the meeting happened, which is good. That's excellent. That's great. Now, we need to do two things that we need to communicate to our other fellow members.
Oh yeah.
And that is, we need to invite more people,
Right.
all right?
Yeah.
And we also need to be here, at least 15 minutes.
Yeah.
15 minutes early, we'll be
15
15.
That's too
For
much.
you and I. The
15
South
minutes.
Asians.
That way we can welcome the guests if there are any.
Okay.
And because the guests cannot be here exactly at 12 noon. They
Right.
need to be here, need to be
Prepare.
registered, need to, where do I see when? So 15 minutes is pretty fair. What do you think? Do you guys think?
I think so,
Yes.
yeah.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for the South Asians, we're always late, like
Yes.
Sri Lanka time, India time.
Yes. So, and also, I think, I think the meeting went well, even though we had, you know, personnel, individual resources were low, but still we managed to do it. I will say some comments after the evaluation because I know about evaluation. So that for now, I will return the control now to the Toastmaster. Thank you.
All right, Adolfo, thank you very much. Awesome job, absolutely.
Thank you.
And as the Toastmaster of the day, I'll return control again to myself, President. And we're gonna continue with, I'll give Adolfo a minute to count the votes, to give the awards to the winners. Corey, I wanna really go over that while Adolfo is completing that. The important to be a few minutes early, that way it gives a chance to, the evaluator gets in conversation with the speaker to see where they're at, a little bit about the topics, and we kind of agree a little bit as far as the speech, and that way when we hear it, even on the speech or when the evaluator is going to introduce the speaker, we're a little more prepared. So give us a little time to talk about that, or maybe going over a board, complete any last minute things that we need to. I know some of you is challenging that drive from far like you, Bobby, but of course, if you can, absolutely, it would be great. If it's a challenge, but then we definitely understand. We definitely thank you for continue supporting us here and not quitting on us, not giving up on us, even though it's a small group, but our goal is really to grow our club and continue developing. Every time we speak here, every time we hear it, we learn something new, and we just grow on and develop ourselves, and that's the whole thing about our meeting, to really give us the opportunity to grow, and our new members, when they come here, to support and show them they're great people, great club, and we're here to support them as well, and here to make a difference in their ability to speak publicly. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just like to just make a comment about the speech project that I did today.
Okay.
This speech project actually is a speech on the opposing view.
Okay.
Opposing view.
Oh.
So that's the goal. How do you come up with a speech on the opposing view? So my challenge is, what is the opposing view? So as you notice, the first thing I did is try to assess the audience. Where is the audience leaning towards?
Right, yeah.
You notice that? So I was asking.
Yes.
And then I noticed that everybody's, yeah, you would agree. So the challenge for me was,
Yeah.
two of you didn't hear about the story, right?
Oh,
Haven't heard about the
I
story.
heard about that.
But he
but
had.
they already judged.
So I had to give basic facts and lead towards what would probably be the prevailing view, right? So I repeated that. So we established that. And so now that I have established that, then I can begin my opposing views.
Right.
And that's why.
Yeah.
So when you have that similar speech project,
Yeah.
the persuasive speech manual, right?
Yeah.
This is a challenge, you know. If you're given something to talk about the opposing view, you have to establish what is the. You cannot always assume that this is the general perception.
Yeah.
You have to
No
validate.
background.
You have to validate it that it's the general view
Yes.
before you can start talking about the opposing view.
From now on, you should give your own evaluation.
No, I'm just giving you a background what was strategy, because hopefully that would also be a learning experience for you, even though you didn't give that speech itself, but when you're given the chance,
Yeah.
to say something about the opposing view, you have to establish first where you are.
For Vaz, it will
With the
take 1
audience.
year, I think.
I think you did a great job.
It's advanced.
Because I was really engaged in that, and I think you made, because I never heard of that story. I gave you a little background
Yeah.
to, because I said, yeah, that person should be something to that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
immediately.
Because I don't have the facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I got the facts, I was able to assess and say, well, yeah, this person probably needs a second chance
Right.
because it was driven by this person's way of being to go crazy.
Yeah.
And now with
Yeah.
those facts, now we see the sentence could be lower, even though not acceptable killing somebody, but
When I first saw that, I just saw it recently,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end, I thought she should be guilty also, right? But with the way you came up with the evidence, how he's a very manipulative person because he's persuasive, because he's a motivational speaker, he's very successful. So I could see where he's coming from. You know, really, over time, he really got into her psyche.
Yeah.
And just what she did drove her to that, even though that's not the person that she was. And I don't say it's right what she did, but again, for that instant you snap, and I mean, for a person like this, I saw she's a very sweet person, but then she had some other personalities also in the interview. Said they'll never convict me, and she was so confident of that. So, I mean, it's pretty intriguing.
She has some personal issues herself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
she-
deranged.
She always tells a lie, so sometimes you don't, but when you
But I
go
think-
just by the facts,
But I think the lies. You know, if you're an animal cornered, what are you gonna do? Come out fighting, right? So she lied to protect herself.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Lies added up and added up, and it just didn't make sense. So.
The one thing that really that you cannot ignore is the fact that she brought a gun
Yeah,
with her,
with her.
and that gun belongs to her grandfather.
Yeah.
And before that, there was a burglary incident in their house, and one of the things that was lost was the gun. So she may have staged that burglary,
Yeah.
and so that's why she kept that gun with her. So she may have really sort of premeditated,
But again, what
because
pushed her to that
it's-
I
premeditation?
know.
That's the
Why
thing.
should she do
yeah,
that?
or maybe she brought it with her just to protect her in case, because they're going to meet again, and
But she doesn't have any violent history of violence, right?
no, she never had.
So again,
yeah.
The things that we
All
do.
right.
Right.
For another day.
So
Great topic, you see?
Yeah.
Powerful stuff. That's great. That's what happens too. You bring the great topics. But let's continue. Can I will do that afterwards?
Oh, it's not over. Oh, sorry.
We're not done yet. So with that being said, we're gonna continue with with the winners of our contest and for the best table topics. Let's find out who was the winner. Who would that be?
Is it
Adolfo.
Is it
Let's go, Mr. Adolfo Morataya. All right, for the camera and the record. All right, good job.
Alright, good job.
Well, it's on the video.
It's on the video. There
Yeah,
you
but-
go.
Let's take a picture. Cheese.
Her phone's always prompt to go to the camera right when she opens it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right, good job. And the next speaker, the one and only,
Evaluator.
Mr. Bobby Canseco, come on up. Get it done.
The best competition.
Yes.
The best speech
No contest.
so far.
How can you lose?
No contest because I'm the
Gotcha.
There you go. Good job. It's only one, right? Number one is only one.
The one man show. The one man show.
That's true.
And the next evaluator. This is going to be a good one. Would it be Beechers? Would it be Adolfo?
That's okay.
What would it be Vaughn?
Mr. Basula?
Could it be Bobby?
Could it be me?
Bobby himself.
Could it be the president? Who knows? Well, let's find out. Let's go, Mr. Adolfo Morataya. All right, good
Thank you
job.
very much. Thank you. Thank you.
It pays to be a boat counter, right?
Yeah, you paid it.
He talks with experience.
Yeah, man.
He
The
thought
saga continues. Who is guilty?
You committed a crime.
Give me the circumstances and the pressure.
And two pockets. And money's changed from one side to the next. Okay, with that being said, we're going to complete. Is any announcements, Adolfo?
Yes, I'd like to say just a couple of things. One is that, see if I remember that. I wanted to say, yes, well, we need to communicate to all our fellow members and also yourselves to after the meeting is complete, we need to acknowledge our work. In other words, when we finish doing roles, grammarian, accountant, everything, remember that needs to be filled out in the back of the book in the
Okay,
CL, in the CL, competent leader. And that way you get credit for that.
Yeah.
And the idea is that when you get credit for that, it builds up for yourself,
Right.
but also for the club also. For the club. You see, once
This book.
right here, so
So we always miss this, so that's why I
Yeah.
missed out on so many.
yeah, right here towards the beginning, you'll see this chart here. You see? That's a chart that has all the activities that you've done, and then it needs to be filled up. And then there are some requirements. Once you complete that, then you have a CL certificate. You are CL certified.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That once, just like when you complete the 10 speeches, you got a CC. You have that
CC
certification.
certificate.
Yeah. May I add to this? So here you have 10 projects, okay? And on each project, it would ask to complete the project, you have to either complete certain number of roles. It could be 3 or 4, sometimes 2 or 3, something. So whatever role you perform, okay, there's a corresponding picture where you could, be evaluated on. And then when you, let's say if you were the speech evaluator here, that doesn't mean that you get also credit in a project here where you get, that's going to be a separate, so you can only get credit for one role meeting. So that's how you complete this program. Now there are other different roles, but you can also take care of, like being chairperson of a special event, contest, or what have you, or participation in.
Very good. So for the information, Bas, we can do this, or anybody that can listen to the video, and we can do even over the phone. We can go over with some of the agendas or minutes if we have some from prior.
Oh, yeah.
And then we can do that. And I'm sure, Beatrice, you have already
I think
she has
so.
a CL already.
Yeah,
ready,
I should
but
just fill it
we need
out.
to acknowledge. Yeah,
Right.
we need to acknowledge. So maybe.
I'll fax it to you probably.
Or yes, or if you don't remember, maybe using the agendas or the minutes.
Yeah,
We can do
I
it.
did it.
And like you already, I believe you have it already, so
Yeah.
you need to do it.
Yeah.
And the idea of doing that is so that you receive the credit and also the club. And when I say the club, is right now we are President Distinguished Club up until June, until the end of June, because until the end of June is when we need to qualify for the next to be President Distinguished, and we are really short. We have you are the only CC person. We need to.
2 more?
I tried to talk to Scott Yanakuchi, but what happened is that he's not active anymore. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do it if he's not
Oh,
active.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we wanna be efficient. I don't think there is nobody here close to completing 10 speeches right now.
You're
I'm
almost,
only completed my 5th.
that's another
Yeah.
5, you can,
The regular speeches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we need at least one more, and we need several more requirements. We need more members also.
yeah.
So there are several requirements that we need to do. And what I'm gonna do is, I don't know if how much information you have, is to give as much information as I can during this following week. So see if we can achieve. Well, there are, I believe, 3 categories: President Distinguished or Distinguished.
Yeah, special distinguished or something, and then distinguished, and then, I don't know, is it special distinguished or?
Special, something like that,
Yeah.
special distinguished. So we want to
And then
fall in one at
president
least.
distinguished.
We want to at least qualify for one, because we don't want to go all the way down to nothing. You know? We
Yes.
want to qualify in one. So that's the idea that we want. As a club, we come strong. You know, we can call for more people and doing that. So we wanna. I'm gonna do my best. I know it's
Yeah,
gonna.
it's like this. Right?
There you go.
I think.
Yes.
See.
Yeah, these are the ones for the individual. Yes. So
Do one next week.
yeah, I will suggest them just to end the meeting now to.
Yeah.
To read both books, you know, the competent communication and competent leading. Read it. Spend a little time on that, you know. It's worth it. So it's for your own benefit, for the benefit of everybody, because we're in the club.
Yes.
You know?
So then we
Right.
have bronze, silver, gold, and then diamond.
Yes.
This is diamond?
This
No,
is
distinguished.
distinguished.
Oh, you have.
Yes. Okay. So
Okay.
so that you know, guys, and I'll give you receiving emails about it. Thank you.
All right, good job. Let's get up.
Mine.
Yeah, Rodolfo, share that with us. And if there's anything else, I would like you, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing supporting the club and making it happen. Like always, we always have fun, regardless who shows up. I'm definitely looking forward, and it's our Toastmaster members to definitely show up next week. And with that being said, the meeting is adjourned.
I'll do my number 4 next week.
You wanna do number for next week? Okay. Alright.
Don't want to get this out of the way also.
I'm gonna ask Roy if you want